Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, the 12th day of June 2025. I hope you're safe and healthy today. I hope your family's safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in health, trying their best to save lives and improve people's lives and work along with first responders who every day put their life on the line to save lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage, dirty work keeping our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia, like what happened yesterday in Texas. 109 children delivered from child molestation and pedophilia and sex trafficking, and 244 men arrested. May they all be cursed. Double blessings on the people trying to help those children and those that are trying to help those that are in prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Again, double curses on all the perpetrators, the profiteers, and those perverts that create these evil industries. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and veterans homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So at this point, there is no clear front runner for the coaching position of the New York Knicks. But what I wanted to really discuss about that is a couple things. First, I get a lot of idiots come on my channel. Here's one. It should be Mike Malone, but the Knicks have to do things the hard way. And another one. I'm getting confused by the process. Let me explain two things that real Knicks fans understand, but idiots don't. The Knicks never, ever leak anything. So we don't really know what's going on, except people that have proven themselves to have inside information on the Knicks, and that's only two, Shams and Ian Begley. And even Shams can get it wrong, as he did recently. He had some of y'all jumping up and down, acting like the Knicks were going to get Kevin Durant. And I was telling you from the beginning, no. And somebody came and brought it like this. I got an update. The Knicks are out of the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. And let me break this down for you. There was never a Kevin Durant sweepstakes. That was a media narrative during Clickbait season that you suckers bought into. This Clickbait season. When y'all gonna wake up? Okay, there was never no Kevin Durant sweepstakes. The Knicks were never interested in him. He would never fit. How would I know that? You look at their roster. Why would we be trading OG Anunoby, 28 years old, for 35-year-old Kevin? It doesn't make sense. So why would anybody think that that would be true? And why would somebody bring news like that when we know the Don don't let nothing leak out? If Ian Begley wasn't saying it, it ain't happening. And if it doesn't make financial sense, it ain't happening. And I think this stems back to, for example, that last comment, the Knicks do things the hard way. That's disrespect to the front office. That's disrespect to the Knicks. What you're trying to do is say the Knicks are too stupid to know the efficient and smart way to do something. And this is the problem I have with that. The Don has been running this team for 5 years. We went from a laughingstock to the Eastern Conference Finals. And people still don't understand what chess means. He's not playing checkers, which means every short-sighted clickbait view that you see on X or wherever, you should ignore it if you want to be smart. Okay? If you want to indulge your favorite fantasy, okay, do your thing, just don't come to me with it. So right now, the Knicks, according to, let me preface this by saying, according to the 5 years we have seen of Leon Rose's work, certain things we should know. He has got a list. He is working with that list and with the agents representing those people. He knows who he might want to coach the Knicks, and he knows who he definitely doesn't want. So, for example, Sam Cassell. Somebody said, "What about this? Ain't about you throwing names at the wall and say, oh, that's a great idea." No, they're not brainstorming like that. They know what they want. And let me say, the other day we talked about what the Knicks head coach has to bring, right? We talked about defense, ball control. We talked about spreading the floor, things like that, right? But also, this team that we now have was not built by accident. It's built where you have a team, especially in your core group of players, which is 4 of the starting 5 for the Knicks. Not including Josh Hart, but that's not discluding him either, but definitely the 4 other guys with Mitchell Robinson, with Deuce McBride, and Josh Hart. What you want is you want to keep this group together. And most people, again, still don't get it. With all the clickbait out there, it causes y'all to lose your goddamn mind. Look, this is not a short-term thing. So the next coach has to be working with Leon Rose enough so that Leon and this coach could get along for the next 3 years in the heat of battles. Tom Thibodeau lasted 5 seasons, longer than any Knicks coach in a while, because from the first year, from the first 60 games, people were calling for his job and howling about how he don't know what he's doing and disrespecting and second guessing and all that. That's going to continue because idiots are going to be idiots and they're always going to be here. So that's it. So no matter who the Knicks choose, that's going to happen. There's going to be second guessers, Monday morning quarterbacks, people saying they should have chose XYZ a coach over this guy. That's going to happen. So it's got to be a guy that Leon and crew can tune out all the noise, and that's what it is, stupid noise, and focus on the plan that they have internally for the team. And so that it's got to be like Tom Thibodeau was friends with Worldwide West and represented by Leon. They've known each other for years. That was a plus in bringing him on. The 5 years that Tibbs lasted helped the organization move forward. So now we're talking about going to the championship. You got to have a coach in place that not only does the things we talked about in terms of improving the defense, in terms of ball movement, in terms of ball control and offensive rebound, and all of those basic X and O's things. But they also have to get along with the front office. They have to be tight and tight-lipped, and they have to have a plan and internally stick with that plan without anybody outside knowing what's going on, except if you want to observe. And very few of the people that do clickbait really think longer term than this week's clicks. They don't think in terms of a long-term plan. And that's why you keep having people bring up Kevin Durant trades, Giannis Antetokounmpo trades, because it's just clickbait. It's none of that is good for the organization. None of it is good for long-term sustainable winning. But people will bring it up because others buy into it like suckers, and you just eat it up, and then you start thinking, oh, the Knicks don't know what they're doing. Why do you think they don't know what they're doing? What has he done over the last 5 years to give you any indication that he has no idea what he's doing? Okay? So he fired Tom Thibodeau. Who knows why he fired him? From what I understood, it was a combination of Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau conversation with Leon Rose, and Dolan, and the players. So we don't know exactly the thing, but listen, I think Leon Rose has proven enough over 5 years that we shouldn't doubt that he knows what the hell he's doing. Okay? We shouldn't be putting out there that we doubt and not only that, he don't need to be in a hurry. Because, the worst thing in the world is to hire somebody and then a few months later, a guy that you really wanted becomes available. So they got to take their time. They got to really focus. Now, with respect to Jason Kidd, I still feel like Kidd and Udoka were the best candidates. And I know that the media brought the big noise that all y'all heard, that the Knicks reached out and were rejected. That does not mean it's over. I'm not saying they're going to hire Kidd, but I'm telling you this. If Kidd came to management of Dallas and said, I want out, the Knicks would get him. Period. Okay? So it really depends on how badly does Jason Kidd want to coach the New York Knicks. And we don't know that. And we won't know that until Begley starts getting information from the inside. We won't know. So at this point, I don't count any of these so-called the Knicks got rejected. That's what the media likes, to put the negativity in your mind so that you can regurgitate that negativity. And this is sad because, again, over the 5 years, they have proven they know what the hell they're doing. And they have went from laughingstock to Eastern Conference Finals and serious long-term sustainable winning contenders. That's where we're at right now. Okay? And so they need a coach that works with the front office, that has a game plan, that the game plan is understood and agreed upon with the front office, and that will be able to have the ability to work with this current crop of players for the next 3 seasons. Because that's the championship window. Okay? The next 3 seasons is your championship window. For the Knicks to have been in the Eastern Conference Finals, they were knocking at the door. Okay, they were knocking at the door. Yes, there were things that they could improve on, but that's every team. Only one team wins the chip every year. That's the best team. All the other teams need stuff they can improve on. Every team. Okay, so the Knicks fell short this year in the Eastern Conference Final, but now they regroup. They take stock of what happened, look at it. Like Tom Thibodeau said, look at the film, look at what you got to do, make your corrections, move on. So they need a coach that understands that. I still believe Jason Kidd is the best guy for it. And again, just because Dallas said no, that don't mean it's over. That's all I'm saying. Just because Dallas said no. If the coach decides I want out and he makes noise about it, he could force his way out. And that has happened many times in the NBA. There's no precedent that has never happened. Many players have forced their way out of organizations being under contract. Many coaches have forced their way out of organizations being under contract. Okay, it's happened before. It's not like this is unprecedented. So it depends on how important a coach, any coach. Again, let's go back to Tibbs. The Knicks were Tibbs' dream job. That was his dream job. So if the Knicks came calling, if he was under contract or not, he would have wanted to come to New York because that was his dream job. Well, we need another coach that, in that sense, is similar. Coaching in Madison Square Garden would be his dream job. Okay? Like, for example, but we need somebody ready. It was David Fizdale's dream job to go from Southern California and San Diego State and then be an assistant coach in the film room in Miami, then being a head coach in Memphis, getting to the playoffs and losing with grit and grind. That was his dream job, to get paid a lot of money and come to New York. But he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. And he showed it. Okay? He wasn't ready. We need a coach that's ready. Okay? And you and I do not dictate to Leon Rose who he should hire. Some people are like, it's got to be Michael Malone. Why does it have to be Michael? Because you said so? This is Leon Rose's decision. It ain't your job on the line. It's his. He's the one that's got to make this decision with his crew. Okay? And I'm sure they're all sitting down. They're looking at the list. They're talking to agents. They know who they want. And again, they know who they don't want. Okay? So if you don't hear Sam Cassell be mentioned, guess what? He don't want him. Move on. Okay? He don't want him. The noise you're hearing right now is Quinn Snyder, guys like Udoka, guys like Finch, guys like Kidd. You're hearing that noise. And that noise will not go away until the coach himself definitively says, I'm not interested. Until you hear that, anything is on the table. Okay? So those are the names that Begley brought up. Matter of fact, people yesterday in his interview he had on SNY, they asked him about Mike Malone. They asked him about Mike Brown. They asked him about Bryant, and he said, I would not put them at the top of the list. He said that. Okay? So we could stop with what our favorites are. That don't matter. Like, I'd like Mark Jackson, but that don't mean it. What does Leon Rose want? And we don't know. The thing with respect to Mark Jackson, a lot of us, right, from New York, that knew or watched Mark Jackson from, Brooklyn High School to St. John's under Louis Carnesecca to the Knicks, and we've seen him. We've heard him on the broadcast, with Mike Breen and them. A lot of us want Mark Jackson, but what we don't know, and this is a real important thing, Mark Jackson is very much outspoken, very much convicted, strong convictions, what you want in a coach. Every great coach has strong convictions. That's one of the things. They're stubborn and they got strong convictions. Tibbs like that. Every great coach is like that. But point I'm making here is we do not know the relationship, if one exists, between Leon Rose and Mark Jackson, or between James Dolan and Mark Jackson. We do not know that. And we can't guess. Don't come in here saying, this is what I think. I don't give a crap. We don't know. I like to talk in absolutes of what we know and don't know. And that we do not know. Okay? So it could be that they get along. It could be they can't stand each other. If they can't stand each other, whatever coach don't get along with Leon Rose ain't getting hired. Okay? Ain't getting hired. So this is, and again, I want Leon Rose to pick the right guy. That we don't have to, because you're going to, like I said, whoever he picks, I don't care who it is, there's going to be house to have that coach fired by midseason. First 2 game losing streak, it's the wrong guy. We need to look at another guy, and there's going to be all kind of stuff. We need a coach that they take into the inner sanctum of the Dons group, and they don't think about all the outside noise. They don't, because this is what I love about them. They don't do press conferences about every little thing. They'll let the media say, screw the media. Screw all these idiots out here on BSPN. Y'all could guess. We know what we're doing. And those that are paying attention should also know what they're doing just by watching them. So, for example, we've seen, like I said, 5 years of Leon Rose turning journeymen into second-round picks, turning no picks into multiple picks, getting players cheaper than they would have already got good players. We've seen this. Okay, this is not new, so we know he knows what he's doing. So we should also understand with that in mind, he's got a plan, he's got a list, he's working through it. He knows who he wants, or at least the template of the type of guy he wants, and he knows what he doesn't want. So he's not going to just pick any name people are throwing out there. What about this guy? What about that? He has a list. We all have our druthers. And like I said, unsurprisingly, myself and many of you, I would say the majority of people that have commented on my channel are down with Mark Jackson. I have no problem with that. None of us do. But again, we don't know what Leon Rose thinks about Mark Jackson. And you ain't going to know unless he hires him. Okay? And so we don't know what Leon Rose or Dolan, and you ain't going to know because they ain't going to run no press conference for idiots with microphones to ask them stupid ass questions. They ain't going to do it. So they're going to let them, guess what I'm saying in this video is, the Don knows what the hell he's doing. New York Knicks Nation, I'm not talking to Detroit Piston Nation, Boston Celtic Nation, I'm not talking to nobody else. Knicks Nation, let our boy cook. Let him cook, ignore all clickbait. Don't come on here because you're only driving yourself and annoying me, which I would like you to stop. Don't bring all these rumors to me. I heard. Somebody could say, I heard your mama had 5 dudes last night. I hate that term. I heard. You ain't heard nothing because they ain't saying nothing. Okay? Let them cook. Everybody got their favorite candidates? Yes. No problem. But if they don't want them, they don't want them. All right? If you hear about an interview, they're interested. That's the only way you know. And you will hear it. You're going to hear it. So-and-so, Ian Bay going to say the Knicks just interviewed whoever. Then you know they're interested. That's when all the criticism is going to come out because it ain't going to be some of your boys that you wanted, right? But let them cook. They got to this is a very important decision. Very important. This is more important than any Knicks head coaching decision since Tom Thibodeau, and probably long before that. You got to have a guy that's going to stick around for at least 3 years. A guy that's going to develop this core group of players we have to make this championship run. A guy that has a plan. A guy that has a game plan and knows what he wants to do and knows how he wants to do it. Guy that can work with the players we now have and develop them. That's important. And so this is a very important decision. You do not want the Knicks to rush this. You do not want that. In spite of the media. Don't let the media dictate your little nerve system tripping. Calm down. Let Leon cook. He know what the hell he's doing. And he's going to come out with something good. You'll enjoy your Thursday. So